you really want to sort of grow as a person, experience new things, keep on learning. This will help you to mature, and this will help you to become a better person. They will help you to become a better version of yourself.
Welcome to Learn Well podcast. Today is the 5th episode of the podcast, and as always, we are gonna have an international guest, which is gonna talk with us about education, about learning, well-being, and about this time his experience. Our guest today comes from Malta, and I know actually him personally for quite some time. And but that's it. I'm already saying too much. I will ask Abraham Azzopardi to introduce himself and telling us a bit more about what he does and what he does for living and who he is. Abraham, are you there?
Hello, Antonio. How are you?
Pretty good. How is it there?
Here it's a bit hot, yes, in Malta. I might guess that Italy is the same. So we're sort of experiencing a sort of, let's say, mini heat wave at the moment. So yeah, it's a way of showing that it's summer. So let's say it's time.
Yeah. Okay, would you like to tell us a bit more about yourself?
Yeah, so first of all, thank you for inviting me for this podcast. It's my pleasure to be with you and share my experience with you. As Antonio said, I'm Abraham Azzopardi. I come from, let's say, the small nation called Malta. So for those of you who don't know where is Malta, it's just a small dot in the middle of the Mediterranean Sea, just under Italy. So some people think that actually we are not an independent country. Some people think that we are part of Italy. But just for your information, we are an independent nation of just, let's say, nearly 500,000 people, not even. So we are like 450,000 people. So that's it about Malta. From my side, I'm getting older. Soon I will not be part of the youth. So I'm 29. And with regards to my, let's say, education, I have formerly studied sciences as during my studying time, and in 2012 I had graduated as a nurse. So my first degree, I started as a nurse. And then what happened was that sort of I met these opportunities, like at the time it was Youth in Action, and then it changed to Erasmus Plus, and slowly I started benefiting from these experiences. Yes, and so I entered the world of youth work, I entered the world of non-formal education, I entered the world of projects, I entered the world of meeting people. Yeah, so it was a combination of things that all took place at once. And in the beginning, it was sort of, I was on the receiving side. Yeah, as a young person, I was receiving the benefits, the educational benefits, the experience. Yeah. And after some time, that was in 2016, I decided to go for EVS. And that's when I met you as well in Croatia. And during my 1 year, let's say like this 1 year EVS, I learned a lot. And I also reflected. So during that 1 year, it was like sort of the, let's say, the top of this whole experience. And from there on, I decided that, listen, okay, thanks to this type of education, the non-formal education, I managed to gain a lot. And I believe that now it's time for me to also not just keep what I learned for myself, but also to give something back to the society. And for the people who did EVS, you might know that during the end of your EVS, you start reflecting what you will be doing after this experience ends. And one of the things that I decided that I would be doing was that, first of all, I would be joining Prisms, which is the NGO that I form part of now, which is an NGO that works with young people. And also I decided that I needed to be part of Prisms and to work as a youth worker. I realized that I would need some formal education as well on this to sort of strengthen my qualities and strengthen the service that I give. And then that was when I decided also that I would join a formal course on youth work. So that was when I started as well a master's in youth work. So that's it about the introduction about myself, and so I hope that it wasn't too long.
No. That's perfect. Actually, you already touched quite few points which I planned to ask you. So that was actually perfect, I would say. Yeah. So you mentioned that you were benefiting like from the projects offered by Erasmus Plus, and that you joined DVS, and afterwards you decided to give it back somehow. This links me to the methods that are used that are usually used in these kind of projects, which are based on the so-called non-formal education. And what I wanted to ask you, since I know that now you have quite some years of experience using these methods, is like how do you see this type of education in today's world, and actually how do you see it in the work that you do, and how do you see it beneficial for youth?
Yeah, so as well as all of us know, there is different, people, there is different learning methods in today's world, yeah? So some people are good at just sitting down and listening. Some other people cannot sort of sit down in a classroom and listen. So everyone has his own learning methods. And in non-formal education, what I like is that we touch sort of everyone's needs, okay? So, okay, non-formal education, in a nutshell, it's learning by doing. But the way that we as trainers and we as educators and youth workers do it is that we try to touch the needs of everybody. So if someone is a visual learner, he has a part of the session dedicated to him or her. If someone is a kinesthetic, he has a part dedicated to him or her, yeah? If someone is an auditory, he has a part dedicated to him or her as well. So for me, non-formal education is a tool that is very effective, and especially in today's world. While let's say 20 years ago or 30 years ago, when we were kids, for us sitting down and listening to let's say an educator, a teacher was the norm. Today, there is this movement of change. People want something different. We are all the time want different experiences. And for me, the non-formal education is giving the whole package for this. Especially when, in the past, when we used to go to school, the educator, the teacher just tells us this, this, and this, okay? But with the non-formal education, you get the chance to experience something, for example. And like this, you understand it better. What do I mean? For example, with the topic of migration, we have some very good workshops like, I don't know, maybe Barnga or other experiences, yeah? For example, the topic of migration, we have this workshop that I'm mentioning, which is about rejection, about mixing up with the new society. When you yourself experience rejection, when you yourself experience what does it mean, how do you feel when you cannot communicate by the language, when there is the barrier, you understand better the other person. When you are hurt like the other person, when you feel the same happiness maybe as the other person, you better understand what he or she is feeling. We are coming from, all of us have, when they receive information, all of us receive different type of information when we are listening. We are selective. So when we are hearing something, without even knowing, our brain removes some things that he doesn't want to listen to, But when you are feeling something, it's like the feeling for most of us is the same, okay? So when we feel something, we can correlate on that emotional state. So for me, when we sort of are touched emotionally the same, then we can really correlate with each other. And this, I see it also with regards to I spoke about the migration and about the migration topic. And this I see it about a lot in this integration as well. As you know, in the Western world, at the moment, it's not a hidden fact, I mean, it's a well-known fact that we are seeing a rise in xenophobia, a rise against migrants, etc. And I believe that these projects that we do and we create um, help a lot in people to sort of correlate and have this same level of emotional, like everyone is touched. What do I mean? So, as I was saying, with non-formal, we experience the same thing. When we meet and do projects together, sleep together for 1 week, discuss, etc., we are we build an emotional bond together. We understand what the others are suffering. We understand what the others want, etc. And through that, we manage to build a bond. So I believe that apart these projects and this non-formal education, apart from helping us to learn about topics like emotional intelligence, entrepreneurship, unemployment, etc., it's also helping us to integrate and sort of become emotionally more united as, let's say, Europeans and world citizens as well.
Well, yeah, I can only agree with you, to be honest. Like that was in short a great sum up of this thing. Yeah, I see it in a very, very similar way. And I actually wanted to ask you on another thing about this point, which is do you see how this emotional connection which you mentioned as a tool actually as a way that can also increase well-being of our society and of a single person, him or herself? Like, do you see that it can actually influence our own state in terms of well-being, in terms of happiness, maybe?
Yes. First of all, reverting back to inclusion, etc., I want to make another point that I see a big difference between people who have traveled abroad and people who haven't. Okay, so when it comes to accepting foreigners, okay, I see a big difference between the people who have managed to maybe live abroad or go abroad for some experiences and people who haven't. The problem in our society is that we have the media which is bombarding us with some information, but some information is true, some is not. So what is happening is like we are building a wall and we are afraid of the unknown. It's inhuman, it's nature. I mean, we are always afraid of the unknown. So it's part of us. But thanks to these experiences and thanks to these emotional touches, these walls manage to crumble down and we can build this emotional bridge with others. And of course, I mean, these emotional bridges, these experiences help us to to feel better. Why not? When we are afraid, because we have these walls, because we are afraid of the unknown, for sure we are not happy. For sure there is a lot of questionings. And that is why the hatred comes out. That's why certain language is used, you know? And that is why certain pushiness comes out of us. For sure, this reactions, or for sure the way that some people behave, for sure doesn't show that they are happy. For sure there isn't this happiness in the person. So I believe yes, these experiences together with this emotional touching helps to create a better society. Of course, if we are better connected, if we live together more peacefully, for sure, the well-being of the society will be better. And if the well-being of the society is better, in the end, it's the citizens that live in that society who will, in the end, benefit and live a better life. You know, so feeling connected, feeling welcomed in your society, for sure, is a big benefit. That is what is called social bonds. So we, as humans, we cannot live alone. We need connections between us. Okay, so having this social bonds is very, very, very important. And actually, there is research showing that these social bonds are sort of, let's say, decreasing. And on the other hand, we are having research showing that, for example, cases of depression, loneliness, suicide are increasing. So are they related? I leave the answer, answer yourself, but sort of they are proportionally going up and down together. So yeah, social bonds, emotions, they are very, very important, and feeling welcomed is very, very, very important. And speaking about this, I encourage young people, especially youth, to experience these exchanges and also maybe make 1 year out of their lifetime living abroad, because there you really understand what it means to live in a new society. You really learn how to integrate, and you really learn what others feel when they come to a new society themselves.
Yeah, yeah. Again, I can only agree with you. Like, and thank you for really being like synthetic and actually get to the point. It's to me it was very like clear and on spot with what you mentioned. And this also again once more brings me to another reasoning, to another question which I want to ask you. And I also see you. I mean, this is my assumption, but I think it might or it actually makes the spot that I see you very passionate about what you're doing and what you're talking about, and that's why I want to ask you how it is for you and what does it mean to you to be a youth worker, to be an educator. Well, how do you see yourself in this role, and what do you think that you are bringing by doing your job and by being a youth worker and by being an educator?
Yeah, for me, being a youth worker, yes, in Malta, for example, it's a profession. Being a youth worker is a profession. But for me, being a youth worker means different things. First of all, it means being there with the young people, okay? And being there with the young people, apart from enjoying what they do, it also helps you keep young, yeah? So it's also a benefit for me. I'm staying young thanks to the spirit of the young people themselves. But jokes apart, being a youth worker is building this relationship with young people through the things that we are doing. So with young people, you do various things from, I don't know, trekking, barbecuing, swimming, doing some sessions, yeah. So for me, that's the building of the informal relationship with these young people is very, 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 very important. And then thanks to that relationship, thanks to that voluntary relationship, which is very important, okay? So one big difference between teacher and youth worker is the fact that in teaching, the person has to attend school by force. It's the law. You have to attend school till 16, 17. While in youth work, it's a voluntary relationship. So the young person has a choice if he or she wants to go or not to the youth club, for example. So that's one important big difference and a very important point. And I believe that through that relationship, a lot of things can happen, okay? So the young people, when they sort of start trusting you, okay, so the young people, there's a process. In the beginning, when you first meet them as youth worker, they sort of start testing you. They start seeing who you are, what are your limits. They start seeing if they can trust you or not, you know? And then once they start trusting you, once you are on the same wavelength with them, then other things start coming up. So if they have any problems, they start opening up. If they have some questions, they start opening up. So that's the relationship. Some people outside there, they tell us youth work is all about playing because they see us doing activities like going to the beach, like I said, trekking, etc. But that's just part of it. And as an example, I always bring one good project that we did last year and also 3 years ago. As an organization, as Prisms, last year and 3 years ago, we did the Camino in Spain, where we did 10 days trekking with young people in Spain. And during this whole process, in the first 2 days, it was like building the relationship with the young people, they getting to know us, trusting us, etc. And then what happened in the 7 days, in the upcoming 7 days, was amazing because then the young people trusted us. They opened up more about their problems, social problems, what were their needs, yes. And then as a youth worker, you can, let's say, guide the people to where they want to reach. So as a youth worker, you are like a coach, a mentor. You don't tell the young people what they have to do. That's a big no, because You don't want to tell them, listen, do this, this, and this. You just speak from your experience. You help them, for example, reach the way. So you help them make it step by step. So, for example, if they want to, let's say, they want to start studying to become a computer specialist, yeah? You divide the way for them. So, for example, first step is to get an exam in computer studies. Then the next step is to go to university, start working to earn some money for it, you know? And one other important thing as a youth worker, I believe that we are not professional in all things. So, for example, if there is a case where you believe that this is not something that you can tackle, as a youth worker, we can always sort of refer the people to professionals on that area. So, if you feel that, listen, this is something that you cannot tackle, you can always direct the person to other professionals to seek help from that side as well. So, yeah, I mean, as a youth worker, you are a part of a team. So we are part of a multidisciplinary team. There is psychologists, so there is different people. And everyone does his part. But I think as a youth worker, you are the one that's staying the most with the people. And I believe you are the one that is most trusted. And I'm emphasizing on the word trust because if you lose that, then you lose the young person. So if something happens and the young person loses trust in you, it's like you lost that person. Okay, so trust and the relationship is very, 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 very important with the young person. Of course, with the boundaries as a professional as well, but you have to go to their level and build this relationship and maintain the trust between you and the young person.
Yeah, thank you for this explanation. And you actually mentioned it now, youth worker as a professional. And I've been researching a bit on this since I'm also doing this kind of job, and during the years I've been researching like the different definitions of a youth worker and people working in education with youth, in informal education with youth. And at some point it popped out this that some countries, such as Malta, for example, which was one of the first and actually one of the few still in Europe, that they actually brought this specific form of education into university. So sort of moving this non-formal education to formal education and recognizing officially education as a youth worker. And as you mentioned, and as you said, you actually took part in it. And I wanted to ask you, like, mostly how it is, like, how does it work, this thing in Malta? How come, like, you said a bit, and how come you ended up doing this? Like, if you want to tell us a bit more on how is your experience and how you started it, and how it is there in Malta with this, which is, again, like, I want to repeat, it's one of the few countries in Europe that have this faculty inside college.
Yes, so basically, I mean, for some years until the AVS, I had been gaining experience in youth work non-formally, yeah? But as I said before, formal and non-formal both are important. So everything is important when it comes to education. And it came to a point in my life when I said, okay, sort of I have the experience, I have a lot of experience, and I learned through experience, but I wanted something more solid. What do I mean by solid? It's not the certificate. Okay, the certificate, it's just an addition. It makes you a professional youth worker, like a real one. You know, it's, let's say, officially professional youth worker. However, what the benefits of the course that I took are enormous. To describe it, I mean, during the course, we go on different areas of the course of the youth work. Actually, it's youth and community, which are two things that are related together. But what I liked a lot about the course is the fact that, for example, it gives you formal background on youth and psychology. So it really helps you understand the way the young people think, the way that they behave. Actually, apart from helping me to better understand young people, it's funny, but it helped me also sometimes understand more myself and how I thought, the way I used to react in the past. So when I was a young person, 15, 16, 17, even 20s, there were some things that were like a question mark to me. Okay, like why am I thinking this way when maybe some of my friends are thinking the other way? Or why am I reacting this way, you know? And really it helped me to better understand why I reacted in that way in the past, but also helped me to better understand the way that young people act. Okay, the way that the process, the sort of the process from a young person, from a child to a young adult, how it goes, how you can help the young person develop. I mean, and then of course, if you know it formally, you can also explain this to the young people. One thing is that when we are in youth, we are in what in a state called moratorium. We are asking a lot of questions, and knowing this formally, okay, can help you to better explain to the young people what they are passing from and help them to explore more. As young people, their brains, they are developing it and they are asking a lot of questions, be it about everything. What type of job do I want to work? About their marital status, even religion, studying. You know, they have a lot of questions about everything. So their brain is like a big explosion going on, and sometimes it can be also, let's say, make you feel like you are someone different because you're thinking differently from the others, you know. So, and sometimes it can be depressing because you know that you want something else, but you cannot understand how you want to reach it. You cannot understand what's happening in your brain. How come today I am feeling I want to do this and the next day I am feeling this? Yeah. So when, as a youth worker, understanding this and explaining this to the young people helps them feel that, listen, this is normal. You are normal, not, you know. Another good thing was the fact that the course gave us an insight also on on sociology. So how the society works, how the society develops. You know, I mean, one important thing as a youth worker is that you understand the society that you are working in. If you have to go into the society, acclimatize yourself to the society and understand the society where you are working, and then start working there. I cannot go in a society, let's say, I mean, I like to give the example of volunteers that go, for example, for a mission in Africa. Okay. In the past, Europeans used to just bring what we do in Europe and impose it on people in Africa or in the Middle East, whatever. But that's not the way that it works. You have to go there in the society, see their needs, see what they want in the end, and then help them develop. Yeah. So that was another good aspect, sociology and how society develops and how it affects the youth as well. That was another big learning side from me. Then the course goes in other areas of society, also youth organizations. So all of them were a big benefit. But I really feel lucky that as a country, let's say it like this, we have youth work as a profession. We have the opportunity to do a course in this, and sort of it really helps to sort of give you a status as well. But and sort of we also have, apart from the course, we also have a national youth agency, so which is employing the young people and doing the activities for the youth in Malta.
Yeah. Actually, I think it's 4 countries in Europe that had it. No, something like I don't know, Malta,
Yeah,
Ireland.
Estonia and the Netherlands, and maybe Belgium. I'm not sure, but it's really it's something. Let's call it. It's something still new. So it's still a new phenomenon in Europe. There is a lot of people saying that they are youth workers and youth leaders, but it's something that is building up, and slowly is getting more recognition even from European Union. So slowly, it's building up momentum, and European Union is sort of understanding the needs of investing in young people as well.
Yeah, for sure. Like giving also official recognition from something that which for sure I'm sure it has a huge impact on youth. Like in giving an official recognition I believe it's a big added value, and I wish it could happen everywhere in Europe. But as you mentioned, I believe that slowly it might take it over, and step by step happen everywhere in Europe. And I wanted to ask you one last question before going for the closing of this episode. I wanted to ask you about what you're actually doing now, like in terms of work with the organization in which you worked. You work in Malta, like Prisms. Like how do you work within it and with it, and what is it you're doing at this moment, and maybe some of your plans for the future with the organization over there.
Yeah. So as an organization, as Prisms, we have been running up for 12 years now, from 2008. Of course, I was not part of the initial setup. Okay, so I joined after my EVS. But as an organization, we're doing different activities. So we are doing sometimes what is called detached youth work, where we are going with young people in the streets and literally like interacting with them, playing football in the streets, making music in the street, making parties in the street, So that's one way, one type of youth work that we're doing. And we are also partnering up with institutions. So these are like places where young people who don't have a family where to live, they are sort of welcomed and where they are living. We are also working with these institutions, and we are doing projects for these young people, doing activities for these young people. Apart from that, we are also doing activities for youth workers. So we're not just focusing on young people, but we are also giving training to youth workers, because we believe that if we do an activity with a young person, we are going to affect one person at a time. If we train other youth workers with that one youth worker, we're going to reach 20 more young people, So it's a magnifying effect. So we are doing also training for youth workers. We are doing also training for teachers, because recently there is a rise in interest in non-formal education. So we are doing some training as well for teachers. And then we are doing these long-term projects. So we have one good project about autism. We are creating what is called autism-friendly spaces, where we, thanks to a key action 2, Erasmus Plus project, we are creating autism-friendly spaces, be it in supermarkets, be it in restaurants, So we are sort of training the staff of these places to understand how to behave with people who suffer from autism. And we have online courses about this. We are giving certificates to places who become autism-friendly. We are doing autism-friendly hours, for example, in supermarkets, where you have low light, low music, so that people with autism feel friendly. That's one project that we are doing. We just finished one project about urban farming with young people, so that was another project that we did. We have another project about coaching and mentoring with young people. So we have a number of things going on. So, and lately we are also thinking about social entrepreneurship as well. So as an organization, we believe that relying just on funds isn't sustainable. And we need to find an alternative way how to sort of be able to be sustainable as an organization while we still reach our target group, which is the young people. So lately we're also thinking about social entrepreneurship, and hopefully that will be sort of the next venture that we will be doing in the future. So hopefully that's another project that's in the pipeline.
Wow, they're doing a lot of things, huh? It's great, and being in the field for so many years and doing so many projects it's really admirable, in a sense that I from my experience, it's very tough. It can be very tough, and being around and giving the opportunities to so many people for so many years, it's really something big from how I see it.
It's draining as well, especially because I mean most of the things. Okay, if you give a training, you earn something. If you work officially with the government as a youth worker, you earn some wage. But some things are done voluntarily. I mean, not everything is done with money, and working with young people is draining. It drains you a lot. It drains a lot of energy with you. Okay, so in the beginning, I told you that we did the Camino with young people. 14 days with these young people was draining a lot. You know, they are young, they are full of energy, they sleep little, they all the time want something. They are, if they have a good relationship with you, you will realize, because they are all the time picking on you, you know, joking with you, you know. And the older you get, the less energy we have, and the more, let's say, self-time we want for ourselves, you know. So it's also it's a draining job, yeah. But it's a job that I like, and a job that keeps me motivated to work more and more. So I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying let's say the negative side. Let's put it away. But yeah, every job has its positive, and there is some bad repercussions as well with like everything else.
Yeah, it is. I believe it's in every sort of activity, human activity. This thing, like there is always a dark side of it, let's say. Yeah, and is there anything else that you want to tell us, Abraham? Something that you really want to tell to our audience today?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, something that I would really like to say is that if you have these opportunities now, the airports are opening again, opportunities are there again. Go for these opportunities. There is hundreds and thousands of opportunities. Choose the right opportunities, but don't feel afraid. I've met some people that were afraid, but there is this cliche going on that you have to get outside of the comfort zone to really learn. But this is true. I mean, for example, before I went for the VS in Croatia, there was a lot of question marks. Am I doing the right thing? Will I be comfortable staying there? You know, but it was one of the best experiences that I learned, that I grew. So if you want to grow as a person, I'm not saying as a youth worker, I mean, some people who will be watching this are not youth workers, but if you really want to sort of grow as a person, experience new things, keep on learning. This will help you to mature, and this will help you to become a better person. They will help you to become a better version of yourself, and you will look back and say it was good. Thanks God that I did it. You know, there is a lot of people grumbling. They don't know. Sort of, they are not happy with what they are doing. So experiment, see what you want, and in the end you will realize that, and you will say, okay, this and this works for me. But if you don't try, if you always live the same life, you will not have from where to choose. But if you try different things, you can say, so this and this didn't work, but this and this it worked for me. So the more things you try, the more experiences you have, and the more choice you will have in the end to see what you really want, and what makes you happy in the end.
Thank you, Abraham. Thank you for your answers, for your hints, and thank you for this last thing that you added. That was very meaningful. I can see myself like in it somehow, like some years ago. And thank you a lot for being with us today. And let's see if in the future we'll manage to catch up again somewhere, or maybe we can have another podcast in a while to get updated. What do you say?
No problem. For sure, meeting up in person is better. So for sure, we have to do it. I mean, that's the best. I mean, okay, these few months we had to meet online, and at least we have the opportunity to meet. But meeting in person is always better, and having some good time together as well is always on the agenda. Let's call it like this.
No, thank you very much, Abraham. And with this, we close the 5th episode of Learn Well podcast. And as every week, I invite you to stay tuned on our channels for the next podcast coming.